One of our favorite sponsors is back with us, Sunset Lake CBD.
Yeah.
If you're looking for CBD that actually does what CBD is supposed to do, look no further than our friends over at Sunset Lake.
Let me break it down.
Break it down, Mel.
They're sustainably farmed, meaning they avoid pesticides and use sustainable farming practices to preserve the land for future generations. 1. 2, farm to table. They ship the CBD products straight from their door in Vermont directly to your door wherever you're at.
Oh, that's cool.
And third party tested. They test everything with a third party to ensure quality, dosage, and safety.
You got to go over and check out sunsetlakecbd.com. They have so many products. Break it down for them, Apple.
Well, they've got some new stuff going on. Like they always had pre-rolls, but now they got really cool packaging for it. And you can get CBD pre-roll flights of all their flavors. You can get the heavy hitter flight that also throws in some of their Keef blunts. They have a new CBD recovery body lotion.
I'm excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the other?
The other one with arnica.
The extra strength muscle rub, 3,000 milligram with 5% lidocaine.
So look,
Oh, yeah,
if you're
lidocaine.
sore, this is the stuff you want to rub on your body to make those aches and pains go away. They even have CBD infused coffee, so you can have coffee without the little jitter that you get from caffeine, and you have it in the morning and you start your day off right. Your body feels lubricated. You're going to sleep good.
Yeah, and also they have, if you kind of forget to reorder, they've got subscriptions.
And they're giving the No Simple Road family 20% off.
20% off.
Put
with
in the promo code NSR20 when you're checking out at sunsetlakecbd.com. You're going to get 20% off your entire order.
NSR20.
And don't forget those cute little gummy bears.
That's right. sunsetlakecbd.com, one of our favorite sponsors, is back.
Do I look like
Hey now.
Hey, everybody.
Head over to shoptourbus.com.
Shop Tour Bus.
Shop Tour Bus.
Online or at Shop Tour Bus on Instagram and hook yourself up so you don't look fucked up.
Hook it up for that Valentine's Day. They love each other.
Yes, they do.
Right?
Yes.
And Foolish Heart.
And Foolish
right?
Heart. Yeah, right?
So, yeah, go check out Shop Tour Bus and check out all their merch. They've got t-shirts, they've got hoodies, they've got kids stuff, they've got stickers. They have a bunch of fun stuff with amazing box that it comes in.
Yep.
Tell them about the box, babe.
It's a little love bomb. It's a bomb. But it's not.
No,
it
don't
won't-
say bomb
But it
and
won't
shipping.
hurt you. It's a love bomb. So what happens is you put in the promo code No Simple Road when you check out. This little box of joy,
And it
fun, and
arrives.
happiness comes to your house free of shipping
Free
because you
shipping.
put in the
Free
promo code
shipping.
No Simple Road. And that box is one of a kind. There is no other box like that box on the planet. What that box has inside is what you ordered, but also a one-of-a-kind Grateful Dead lyrics scrawled on the inside, beautifully, artfully done. The shirt is rolled wonderfully with this beautiful piece of twine. There could maybe be a miracle bootleg. Cassette Grateful Dead tape on the inside. There's all kinds of little extras, love, attention, detail, all of
And
it.
fun.
And right now is no time to mess around. Go over there because they're going to start
always
retiring
time to
some of
mess
these
around.
shirts. No, they're going to be retiring some of these shirts. Right now, Birdsong's getting ready to go away
Oh,
into the
no.
locker.
Oh, that's true.
They said they're going to tease them and drop them and eventually bring them all back. But get over there and get these special ones before they disappear.
Or they disappear. That's right. So head over to shoptourbus.com online or at shoptourbus on Instagram. Put in the promo code No Simple Road when you check out and get
More than you bargained for.
Hey everyone, Chris Pandolfi from the infamous String Dusters here to let you know that my podcast, Inside the Musician's Brain, is back on the airwaves for Season 4, which means it's time once again to get deep with influential musicians from all across the musical landscape to really understand and translate the lessons of success, failure, inspiration, and hard work that are behind the music and the artists that we love. My guests this season include Rachel Price from Lake Street Dives, Sam Bush, Chris Wood, Chris Funk from The Decemberists, Lindsay Liu, MC Taylor from His Golden Messenger, and more. Check us out, and thanks for listening.
We're so excited to tell you a bit about today's sponsor, Music Masters Collective. They are a nonprofit organization that produces unique music events, providing opportunities for fans and artists to meet and collaborate in an inspired and creative atmosphere.
Music Masters Collective events give you the opportunity to learn from world-class musicians like Otil Burbridge, Steve Earle, Richard Thompson, former members of the band, the Milk Carton Kids, Nikki Glaspie, the Fab Four, and Sean Colvin, and so many more.
At an event like the Milk Carton Kids Sad Song Summer Camp happening this July, you can expect immersive classes, evenings of entertainment, excellent food, and a space for a lucky group of folks to learn, co-write, workshop, and perform with like-minded peers, all with the guidance of Kenneth Pattengale, Joey Ryan, and some of their favorite songwriters. This all-inclusive week in the Catskill Mountains of upstate New York is guaranteed to be magical. Scholarships are available and spots are extremely limited, so visit www.sadsongSummerCamp.com/simple to learn more. That's www.sadsongssummercamp.com/simple. Check it out.
No simple road. No simple road. No simple road. No simple road.
I don't know what you're doing, man. Half the time I'm confused, and the other half I'm the one confusing you guys.
That's true.
Hey now, No Simple Road family. How you guys doing this week?
Hello, everybody.
Say hi, Apple.
Hi, Apple.
So I want to just jump right into something that. So when we talk about our sponsors at the beginning and the middle of the show, sometimes there's more that I want to say, and I don't want to kill you with a 45-minute commercial, but
No.
I have to tell you guys something, man. If cannabis is legal where you're at, and you're a cannabis person, aficionado.
Yeah.
Go wherever you live and go get yourself some of the cannabis bath salts.
Yeah.
Man, that stuff is a game changer. I'm going to tell you something. This week, I had a long day at work. It was the end of the week, and it was Friday night actually.
Yes, it was.
And we had eaten dinner. It was time to like chill, watch a movie, do whatever. And I was like, "Hey Mel, let's take a bath. Use the bath salts." And her and I got in the bathtub, man. And
I forgot about this.
both of us, within, I want to say 3 minutes,
Maybe 3 minutes.
fell asleep in the bathtub and only woke up because I farted. But
I was waiting to see if you were going to share it. I was
Yeah,
going to say,
hell yeah.
tell them how
Fuck
you
it,
woke
man.
up, because you guys came out cracking up.
okay, so I get in the tub and I'm falling asleep and I'm like, it was kind of like tripping a little bit.
Yes, it
And I
felt
was
like we were. It felt like we were under something more than just bath salts.
And I'm like, is this real? Is this really happening? But yeah, it was amazing.
Well done. Well done.
Yeah.
It actually did happen.
I was relaxed.
Usually you exaggerate, but that's exactly how it happened.
Yeah, man.
The water was so hot. I was
so relaxed.
literally burning, and we just laid down and passed out.
Both of us.
And that's why I forgot about it, because it like totally escaped my mind, and it was such a good unplug for the end of the week.
Totally.
This is like the third time too that Aaron's taken a bath. He looks like he's going to start drooling.
Yes.
When he comes back out,
He couldn't get out of the
into
tub.
the rest of the house.
I
and
couldn't get out of the
outside.
bathtub, man.
Just like slack jawed. You're just like, huh?
He's like trying to get out, and he couldn't even do this to his foot.
I couldn't move my foot back.
Move his foot like not even a foot.
Oh man.
Oh my god.
So yeah,
Oh,
it's just a
gosh.
public service announcement. If
Get
you're
yourself some bath
if
salt.
you're
Yeah.
if you're fucking stressed out, man. If you're
Plus,
having
they
a
were
hard
fun,
time,
huh? Because these were the fizzy bath salts, and so it wasn't just like the ones that dissolved. These were the ones that like did a little bubble bath, and Aaron was all excited. And
I was
a
like,
kid.
let's wait for the boy. I don't want to put the fizzies in first, man. I want to have it in there. Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Look, it's okay to be a kid.
Yeah, it's more than okay to be childlike and have that excitement about you and that innocence and fun.
I think that part of the problem with the world today is that everybody has this idea that when they're an adult, and I'm doing air quotes, that they have to act like an adult. And no, man,
Which-
you
what
have
does
to
that even
handle
mean?
you have to handle your
And
business.
That's what exactly.
Paying
what does
your
that
bills, okay, like calling people back, going to work. But when it comes to like the zest of life, like on your way home, do something fun and cute.
I still fucking love cartoons.
Yeah,
And-
yeah, when
you
you-
can take care of all your responsibilities and still be fun and youthful.
Yeah,
You don't have
I
to
agree
be
with that.
rigid about everything.
Unless that's your bag, I guess.
You could
Unless you find that
could
fun.
Be square.
Yeah.
You can totally be square.
yeah,
if you
you're
want.
allowed to be
Square.
you're allowed to be whatever you want. Square, be circle,
And
be
that
wavy.
kind of segues us into this
Oh.
week's guests. So
this was super
This was
fun.
an awesome swapcast, you guys, that we've done.
If
How many?
you-
This is our first or second?
second, we did one with Fear of a Craft Beer Planet.
That's right.
Yes.
So yeah, this is our second swapcast with Almost Familiar podcast with hosts Wes and Elizabeth, and we did this back in we did this last year sometime.
In November, December.
Yeah, we did this last year sometime, and
Ish.
they released theirs just this past week, and I listened back to their intro and then the show, and it was, you know, when you do a really good job and you get the equal reward that you do get for doing a good job. That's how I felt about that podcast. I felt like we had done a good job. We were being acknowledged, and we were able to help and just be there for them also.
Well, also like being on their podcast, it takes the pressure off in a weird kind of a way of having to come up with everything that we're doing. For me, anyway, like I was able to relax, and talking to those two is probably one of my favorite things that we've done on No Simple Road. Really.
Why?
Just because of the way it felt.
It really did.
It
felt a certain way.
It did. And in listening back, I heard, so we will get feedback from our listeners about the show, and they'll tell us, you know, hey, the show is relatable, or hey, the show helped me through this or that, or I feel like I'm hanging out with you guys. Hang on, I got a fucking frog in my throat.
Rabbit.
Yeah. And
I'm doing it, babe.
do it. So from my perspective, I understand the words that are coming out of your mouth, but I don't have the feeling behind it because it didn't happen to me. I intellectually understand it, but I don't feel that. And this episode, I teared up during this a couple of times, and listening back,
I did too.
because I felt the weight of the
conversation,
the interaction between all of us.
We had definitely
different-
a special kind of magic between the five of us. Like, there was, of course, mutual admiration and care for, you know, but that aside, you can feel that with somebody and not have that kind of magnetic and great connection that we all had. And we're all over the place. All of us are all over different coasts, and we're having this fantastic conversation. It was just listening back, like I said, I just felt like validated for what we do, appreciative to be invited onto their show and to listen to their perspective on what we do, and to be wanting to be mirrored after what we do.
Well, even more than the mutual admiration part of it, it
Well,
was.
that's why I said that's the least of
Yeah.
it. That doesn't. I only say that because that is. We have to not. I have to acknowledge that. That's true.
Yeah, it was something really wonderful that happened. Like, it's a cross-generational thing.
Yeah,
It
that was great too.
it made me it just made me remember, in the midst of pandemic quarantine and all of that, how important and how much I miss music even more, and made me excited to go to a Pretty Lights show with them.
Oh, yeah.
And to finally meet Wes and give him a hug. We got to meet Elizabeth a while back, and just to get to hang out with the two of them, and it's just one of my favorite things because I got to experience our show as a listener.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's great.
it was fun to be interviewed too. We're usually asking the questions,
Yeah.
and that was fun. They got away from us a couple times because it was a swap cast. We were going back and forth, and we had to remember.
Yeah, I wrote a note. And I'm like, remember, we're on their podcast too.
And the funnest thing about it is the enthusiasm these two have and what their podcast is doing. If you read what it's about, they're talking about, they're very interested in the way our community and the Grateful Dead jam band is so similar to the EDM,
to the Pretty Lights community.
Pretty Lights community, because it's about the same thing, about love, kindness, everything like that. So to have them ask us to be on was an honor to be on with them. And we find out, and you'll hear in this, that we helped inspire them to do a podcast when Elizabeth was here talking to you about it. And this was just kind of one of those kind of full circle things from the time we met Elizabeth when Christina was here,
which that was a
doing
blessing.
this with them and see them creating something so magical for their community.
Yeah, man. I always say like the mycelium of No Simple Road, and that Almost Familiar is part of the mycelium of this show.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And just, bringing it just a little bit to the side of the show, meeting Christina and for the first time when they came.
That was amazing. Total trip.
That was the same feeling. And when I listened to the swapcast back, I was reminded that I felt like that when they were here.
Yeah. When the girls came, it was such a blessing. They came and they brought their beauty, their energy, their fun, it was a beautiful time. And so this podcast, I'm really proud of this one, and for everybody to hear the fantastic conversation.
And I just got to say too, to you guys, our listeners, if you listen to this, you need to go over and listen to at least their intro.
Listen to their intro.
But listen to their intro, because it made us all feel so good. So Wes and Elizabeth, we appreciate it. You guys are so cute, the way you like danced around. We're not calling you old. We are older than you.
Yeah, we're older.
These
it's
communities
cool.
are the same.
We're not. We don't care about that.
Yeah, it was so
I'm
fun.
Granny.
I really enjoyed listening to your intro, and it just really made us all tearful with joy.
Well, that's something. Going back to what we were talking about at the beginning of this intro about being a kid still.
Oh yeah.
I am older.
Yeah.
That's a badge of honor. I made it this far. I didn't crap out. I almost did. It was close, but I didn't. And I have the experience of 49 years on the planet.
Good thing you didn't, babe.
I know. I'm glad I didn't too. But I have the experience of 49 years on the planet, and I'm proud of that, man. And I don't find that being almost 50 is a bad thing, or being 50.
Oh, hell no, it's
fuck
not.
that.
And you know what's even cooler, or like this too, what was so cool about that, we're like, these people that are younger want to hang out with us.
Oh my god,
that makes me feel good.
They like us.
You guys also, when you on your intro, when you helped validate me, and I kind of got my initiation at Summer Meltdown, and like you guys were saying, like, well, that's a heck of a lineup, Tipper and G Jones and Closey and Polish Ambassador. So can't wait to party with you guys, especially.
I can't wait to party.
Yeah.
I mean, shit, let's be honest, man. I was thinking today,
shit, let's be honest.
Yeah, I just want to party.
Are we not being honest up until now?
Yeah, right. I mean, I was telling Apple, like, it's at this point, it's like you're in an open air sentencing. Like, okay, no festivals for you.
We're awaiting trial.
Yeah, like
oh yeah, we were just doing that on the store this morning.
Yep. Nope.
And then it's like, oh, you get some yard time. You can go out in the yard and sit at the table and eat. Oh nope, not anymore. Nope, back in your cell.
Back in. But the cell is wonderfully beautiful and amazing, and you have everything you could ever want. But you just can't do this one thing that's really important to you that you love so much. But I really, really miss it. And this interview, swapcast, whatever you want to call it, conversation is what it actually was, really underscored the depth that I'm missing that thing. It's bad. I mean, it's not tearing me apart or anything, but it's definitely a hole in my heart. Like when you love somebody with all your heart and they go away and you know they're going to be gone for, like, it's how people must feel when their partner is deployed, is how I imagine that. Like, they're still alive. Everything's okay.
But you don't know when
You're
they're going to
still
come
together, but you don't know when they're coming back, and you miss them, just like with everything that you have. That's how it feels.
I don't think that's how it feels because one of my girlfriends, she had her man deployed and she was having a really, 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 really hard time.
Okay, I imagine. I'm no
I was going to say, we're
disrespect.
probably not having the greatest time. Oh.
But
Nobody's having a great time, and this is it's our medicine. It's our way to shake it off. It's our way to connect with our outside family. It's our way to listen to new inspirational sounds. And when you don't have that, that is a hole in your heart. That is a sad, like, and everybody's feeling it collectively, whether we're saying those same words or not. We're feeling these gapes of our societal, missing each other. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to put that.
I've been saying to Mel, like, the feeling that I get is like, what do we do now? And I was taking that feeling and applying it to No Simple Road, and I was telling Mel and Apple, like, I want to start having some more information for you guys on what the fuck do we do now. And so I've been booking guests that have some background in the what do we do now section of life. Coming up in a few weeks, we're going to be talking to Gordon White. His podcast is called Rune Soup, and he's a magician and a amazing guy, and has some really practical, useful information. And so I wanted to have him on the show so that he could share that with you guys so you could hear it. And then in about 10 minutes, we're going to be talking with Jeff Firewalker Schmidt.
Oh my gosh, I'm really excited for this, everybody.
And he did a collaboration with John Medeski and called Saint Disruption. And this guy is a Tabacero. He is an advocate for indigenous people. He is a PhD. He is a martial arts expert. He went to college at the age of 15. Just this litany of accomplishments, and this guy is
a martial arts master too.
I said that.
Oh, because it's still it's
arts
astounding
master.
to me.
Two martial arts.
That's
not
right.
Probably.
So over the next bit of time, we're going to be bringing you a little bit different content that'll help you guys make it through the weird world that we're in right now, and give us some tools to help navigate the funky space that we're in. So,
yeah.
But right now, what we're going to do is do the business and get you to the interview.
Do the business?
Yeah,
Do
man.
business?
I'll do it. I can do it. You want me to do it?
Well, I was just going to ask, are we not doing our weeks or not?
Nah.
Okay.
I had a great week.
There you go.
Me too.
Biggest thing this week, I'm going to bring this up for all of us, and we will be reporting on this, is Aaron and Melanie got some munchie inspiration.
Oh.
They ordered a care package from Milk Bar in New York, and we have crack pie, birthday cake, birthday truffles, cookies from you just need to look up Milk Bar if you don't know who that is. What's her name?
Christina Tosi.
Christina Tosi.
Shout out Christina
cheers to
Tosi.
you.
We love you. You don't
Inspiration.
even know it. Maybe we'll even have her on the show.
Aaron bought the
That'd be
cookbook
dope.
and is starting
Let's
to
have her
make
on the
things out of
show.
it. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
But that's the best part. Well, not the best part, but that is a big thing
You know
of
what
our
it
week.
was?
We're so excited for this to come.
This is where everybody says you put your money where you want to.
Put your money where your love
where
is.
your love is, or something that inspired you. That's why we pay for concert tickets and buy art and stuff like that, because we want to support those people that inspire us and that we want to see flourish. And if they're more successful, maybe we'll get more inspiration.
Yeah, Mel, like you guys know, I've gotten into like baking and stuff during the quarantine and all that, and Mel and I have gotten into watching Chef's Table on Netflix. And,
It's so inspiring, that
and
show.
that particular episode with Christina Tosi, I don't know why. I was telling Apple last night, like, somebody that can take ordinary and make it extraordinary is a magician in my book.
She's an artist.
So she could take like
She's a creator.
Kellogg's cornflakes, Kraft frickin' baby marshmallows, oatmeal, and sugar that you buy at the grocery store and turn it into something that starts a snack revolution.
Yeah.
You know, that's magic, man. And I know it sounds silly, but it was super inspiring because
It was cute, you guys. We were laying in bed and we had just finished watching it, and he was like, I want to order her book. I want to order her.
No, I said, you know, I'm ordering her book, right?
Yeah. And I was like, yeah. And then I was like, and then you went on the website and we saw that there was treats, and I was like, buy it. Let's do it.
I was like, you really want to spend $140 on treats?
Yeah, we did. We spent $140 on snacks for across the country, snacks that we've never tasted. We've never even tasted these. We just believed in her, and I wanted to put $140 in her pocket. I did.
There was part of me that thought you guys were a little nuts until you were like, you got to watch it. I watched the episode last night. Right as I finished it, I come upstairs to tell them that I had finished watching it, that I can't wait for the stuff to show up, and it was totally worth $140. Aaron's like, it just came.
And it came in this dope box. It was like an odd, like oblong, square,
a rectangular
cube,
box,
funky, with the cool milk script on it, and it had a little styrofoam cooler with ice packs all around it, with the birthday cake intact, and then the little crack pie, along with a cube box, like a
cookie box,
which we'll report back on the crack pie because we're trying that tonight, right?
Yeah, it's in the fridge. It's defrosted. It's ready to go. All right, so check it out, you guys. We're going to get you to Almost Familiar Swapcast.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mel, you forgot where we were. Listen, I need you guys to do me something. Do me a favor.
Do me a solid. We have a...
Follow us on all the social media platforms at No Simple Road. One of the things you can do for No Simple Road if you want to be a sweetheart human being is tell a friend that is interested in the stuff that you're interested in about the show, because word of mouth, I think, probably is the best advertising for No Simple Road, because it's human and it's personal and it's real and it comes from the heart.
And it just keeps spreading, because then they tell someone and they tell someone.
And then if you want to go a step further and be a really double sweethearted human being, you can leave us a review like this person did.
Yeah, we did. We got a review. We've been asking for one. So this one, somebody
this
came
one's
through
special
her
then.
for us. So this is from, and I like this. It says no nickname. Usually there's a nickname. This is from Dana.
Dana.
Just a great listen. 5 stars. Just wanted to thank you for what you are doing. I can't make it any more simple than saying you are creating a great vibe. Interviews are informative and entertaining. Chatter is real, reflective, and often very relatable. Keep it up. Stay positive and appreciate. Dana.
I like that adjective, reflective.
Thank you, Dana.
Yes,
I appreciate
thank you, Dana.
that.
Thank you, Dana.
And you know what? That person, whoever you are right now, that's got their finger poised over their phone getting ready to leave another review.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Person,
you.
whoever you are out there.
We'll find out next week.
That's right. So go for it. You guys leave us those reviews. And then you can even go another step further. I told you next week. I told you next week because I'm in the future and you're in the past and I can talk to you from there. I told you last week about how you're all producers of No Simple Road, right?
Yeah.
You guys produce the energy that keeps No Simple Road going. So monetary is part of that thing. So if you want to help No Simple Road out, you go to I was going to say chandonator.com. Patreon.
That's great.
That's in the future when we start our own thing.
Patreon.com/No Simple Road is the financial world of No Simple Road. That is how we pay for everything that we need to pay for. And I've told you a million times, 2020 and 21 have been a financial turd for No Simple Road. And so we need your help, man. Help us out. Go over there, sign up, become a Chandonator. You get cool stuff. You get money off or percentage off merch. You get all kinds of cool knickknacks. Mel's going to send you a collage.
I am almost done with your beautiful collage, Abigail. It's still it's on my desk, and it's got a few more finishing touches.
It's really cool. I can't wait for Abigail to see it. So yeah, if you want to be like Abigail, you could sign up for $20 a month. You'll get a You'll get a collage.
Or you could just ask me for one.
Yeah,
like
you could
just
probably
like
just
write
ask
me,
Mel.
like, hey, you do that. I think that'd be kind of cute.
And
I'd
then
be like, all right, it's fine.
if you don't want to do any of those things that I just talked about and you just want to tell us a cool story, you can call 971-808-1524. That number again is 971-808-1524.
The tepid line.
That is our tepid line. It is not hot. It is not lukewarm.
It is tepid.
It is tepid. And you can call there and you can give us a recipe, or you can tell us a story about your first show, or you could tell us
a joke.
Yeah, tell us about you when you bought your puppy, because everybody seems to be buying puppies during the pandemic.
You could tell us about the very first time that you ever saw your first Pretty Lights show.
Oh, shit.
Why don't you, Pretty Light listeners, your crossovers, leave us a voicemail about your experience with your, turning on, like Elizabeth says she likes that, or getting on the bus or getting it for your Pretty Lights show, because
that would be cool.
Yeah, we want to hear those.
And last but not least, www.nosimpleroad.com is where you can go to get all the back issues. This is not a magazine. All the back episodes. Jesus, what the hell's the matter with me? Back episodes of No Simple Road. And also you could sign up for the newsletter there. I send those out every once in a while. And also there is No Simple Road merch up there, and there's hoodies, there's coffee cups and fanny packs, and if you want to outfit yourself with some No Simple Road gear and put some money in the pocket of No Simple Road, not a lot, but just a little, you can hook us up that way and hook yourself up, and it is a reciprocal wheel of love and attention and affection that goes between you and us and the world out there. So, are you guys ready for the interview?
I think I know I'm ready. I think everybody else is ready.
I'm super ready because I'm starving.
All right, Wes and Elizabeth from Almost Familiar. Thank you guys for doing this with us. We are honored to have been on your show and to have you have been on our show, and my words aren't coming out good, so without further ado, we give you Almost Familiar.
Well, welcome, you two fantastic, wonderful human beings. I'll let you introduce yourselves. But yeah, welcome.
You should introduce yourself because their audience doesn't know
who you are. That's true. You're right. This is Mel with No Simple Road, one of the three hosts that we have.
And I'm Aaron, one of the three hosts of No Simple Road.
And the conductor.
And yeah, that's me.
And I'm Apple. I'm the third of the three hosts. Yes, of No Simple Road. And today we have two somebodies joining us. So why don't you introduce yourselves to our listeners and tell them who you are, what you do.
Sure. So my name is Elizabeth. I am one of the co-hosts for the Almost Familiar podcast, which we started this year. We focus on what we call the neo-hippie festival community that occurs at the intersection of jam music and electronica. And honestly, one of the reasons I started it was after hearing your podcast, after hearing No Simple Road, because I was interested in learning a little bit more about the Grateful Dead culture, because as I haven't been to too many shows, but as I started going to see Dead and Company, I kept drawing all of these parallels between your community and the community that Wes and I are part of. And I just wanted to unpack that a little bit more. And so as I was exposed to content about the Grateful Dead, about Phish, about that kind of community, I was introduced to your podcast by my good friend Christina, and I was like, this is such a cool way to cover the community and the music and the culture, and I wish something like that existed about the culture that I'm a part of. And so instead of waiting for someone else to create it, I was like, maybe I should just create it with my good friend Wes.
Yeah. That's really awesome.
How long did that take for you to turn that around,
Honestly, like a year, maybe a year and a half. Because Christina honestly is the person that encouraged me to do all of this. And for those of you who don't know, Christina,
give Christina a little bio.
Yeah, Christina works at Osiris Media. I think she's like the director of operations. So I know you talk to her a lot with your podcast, but she and I have known each other since we were 11. So she's been part of my life for a long time. And I told her that I started writing again about music festival culture, and she encouraged me to do this podcast. So she's been super, super supportive along the way. But it was really hard to get it off the ground because I'm much more of a writer, and that's like the medium that I'm familiar with. Mm-hmm. So to try to do audio and like hearing myself talk has been really, really weird. And it's just so much more improvisational, but it's been really fun to experiment with. But I have to say, the first couple drafts that I tried to do it by myself first, and I was like, I can't do this. So I'm really glad that I was able to get Wes on board to help me out, because the first drafts were not really that good. But I think that's kind of part of the creative process, from what I've learned, is that you have to just get it's kind of bad at first. You got to get the crap out.
Yeah.
Yep. You just got to get something out, and maybe it's bad at first, but that's the only way you improve. So, but once I started doing it with Wes, it got a lot better.
So how did that happen, Wes?
Yeah. Well, let's get Wes to introduce himself.
I am Wes of the other half of Almost Familiar. And, again, just to give Christina a shout out, she had just kind of talked to me and she was like, have you ever thought about doing a podcast? And I was like, I'd love to talk about music more, because that's my entire life. I pre-COVID, was working very deep in the music industry. I worked on the venue level. I was our marketing director, box office manager, production manager, just kind of like the guy, and like I eat, sleep, and I breathe music. But inversely, like I got into the scene through jam bands. So, I went to my first festival was Modown. I'm up in upstate New York. So I went to Modown and was just like, whoa, like this is like a whole different kind of community. Like I've never seen anything like this. And it just felt very, very much like I was home for the first time outside of my actual home. And then, from that, I got the bug, and was just going to things nonstop, started street teaming, and then ended up working for this venue. And that's what I was doing for the last 7 years. But COVID happened. And then, I just, like I said, Christina had reached out, and I initially was like, so cool, but like, I can't do this by myself. And the first person I thought it was like Elizabeth, and I called her, and she was like, oh my God, like I've been thinking the same, like, let's do this.
Yeah.
So it's
And
been
at the same
really,
time,
really fun. Mm-hmm.
That's a cool thing. Like, I don't know about outside of these communities, but inside of them, those synchronicities happen often. And if you're paying attention, they happen all the time. And it's like,
they're always there to be
that's
had.
one of my favorite things about this world that we're in is that kind of magic happening. Like you could have been taking up baking. You know what I'm saying? Like every other person during quarantine, but you weren't, you were thinking about that. And so was she. And then,
how do you two know each other? How did that, like you said, you called Elizabeth. How do you know each other from coast to coast?
That's another crazy synchronicity story. So
Yeah, it really is.
Wes and I both went to Syracuse University for undergrad. And during our freshman year, we actually happened to live in these buildings that were connected to each other. But we didn't cross paths until after we graduated because I don't know, just for a variety of reasons. Like I remember seeing Wes's face around for sure, but we just never talked. And then I think my fiance Ethan was working as a street teamer for Wes's venue, the West Scott. I don't know if you were there at the time, Wes, were you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he wasn't a great employee, but I grew to love him as a person, so it worked out.
And so through that, I think we all linked up at a String Cheese Incident show in Syracuse. And then we all realized that we love Pretty Lights. Pretty Lights is, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the musician band Pretty Lights. But
Yes, we are.
Yeah, cool. Well, it's good
especially
that you are.
after you came.
Yeah. We kind of have that impact on people sometimes, for better or for worse. But our Almost Familiar is named after a Pretty Light song. And it's the thing that has really kept us friends despite being on opposite coasts for a long time. So we're just really grateful for that connection, because once we realized that we all like Pretty Lights, we started traveling to see his shows together all over the country.
Wow. Yeah, and it was really important for us because at the time that Elizabeth and I like really started developing a connection, she was living in New York City, and I was still hanging out with her boyfriend Ethan a lot because he still lived in Syracuse. But we would really only hang out like when Elizabeth was up for the weekend. We would catch a live stream, we'd smoke some blunts and just kind of kick back and cool. And then it became a thing where that once Ethan moved, I would only see them at Pretty Light shows across the country. So it's just like, it's how it is in our corner of the world. You keep these bonds through music. Now we're doing it through the podcast about music.
Yeah,
Wow.
man. It's so, you say that it was hard to get off the ground because your main space is writing. What do you think the hardest thing? I know what it was for us. Like in the beginning. Well, for you, what was the hardest part of it? Was it the technical side of it? Was it listening to your voice and feeling that cringe feeling like I did? Is it like
I still do.
Not feeling like
I don't
you're
like
good?
my voice.
What was it for you, the hardest part, you think?
You know, those two things that you just mentioned are still things that we struggle with. Like the technical aspects is something that we're still trying to wrap our head around. But I think what was hardest for me is that like I'm kind of a perfectionist when it comes to my writing. So like, honestly, the first draft, I think Christina sent it to you, by the way, and you gave me feedback, and thank you so much for listening to that absolute piece of garbage. Because what I did was I literally wrote an essay and I pretended to read it candidly, which is so like stupid, but that is like the only thing I was comfortable doing because I needed to just like write all my thoughts out, because anytime I tried to record, I would press record and stare at the microphone and like my mind would go blank.
I know the feeling.
Yeah.
Believe it or not.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah. It's nuts. In 2016, or 2017, sorry, my son bought me a snowball, one of those,
they're adorable.
Blue.
I was with him.
Yeah, I was not going to shit on it. A blue snowball microphone for Father's Day. I had talked about like jokingly when we lived in Vegas years ago, like I'm going to start a podcast, and never did it. I was like going to school for graphic design and whatever. And so he bought me this mic for Father's Day. He's like, Dad, you guys are always sitting out on the porch and talking about music and the Grateful Dead. You should really start a podcast. And I was like, okay. Well, I don't have an excuse now. Like I don't have the equipment. And so I was really nervous. I didn't even know what a podcast host was. Like no clue the technical side of it. I just knew how to hit record on the computer and plug the mic in. And by myself did the first episode out on the porch, and it was terrifying. Like that feeling of not knowing, because I went into it just like, I'm just going to tell my story like how I went to my first Grateful Dead show. And I've told that story a million times in my life. And as soon as that red light came on, I was like, duh. And now listening back, it is the most embarrassing thing in the world to listen to for me. And also that feeling of like hearing your own voice and the stupid shit that I say and the way I sound and just all of it. But I tell you guys what, like what I wish somebody would have said to me is that none of that stuff matters. It really, really doesn't. Like how you feel about your show. I mean, obviously you got to be passionate about it and all that, but like aside from that, it matters what the people listening think. If you loving what you're doing, all the technical side and how you sound and the ums and uhs and all that stuff, it doesn't matter. And I wish somebody had told me that and just keep doing it. Because just by nature of doing something, you get better and better at it, right?
Definitely.
Well, that's the in your head thing too. Like we talk, that's like bands say, like going with Grateful Dead, any band. Sometimes what they thought was their worst performance ever, the fans fucking dug. You know, they were like, that was one of the best. And then they go back and listen, and it was like, okay, I guess that was pretty good. They sure liked it. So, and that happens a lot. And the biggest one for me is the voice thing. I still can't get used to hearing my own voice, and we've been doing this for 3 years. It's just the thing. I've gotten used to it, and I laugh. Everybody at work, listeners, people that listen, they're like, "You got a great voice." But to me, when I hear it, it's like, "How are you doing?" You know, like it doesn't come through right.
You like school this year.
Then the other one too that all three of us suffered from, Aaron really hard because he started it was like a couple days after he released the first episode. He had like a panic attack. Like it's out there now. I can't take it back. I just told the world basically, if they want to listen, about all my shit. And then that we all went through it. Mel went through it. I did.
I still go through it.
Because we're all kind of private people by nature. And once you start talking and get
Aaron's
used to it.
not private by nature.
Not really, dude. I'll tell the guy at the grocery
He's
store I was a
secretive,
heroin
but not
addict. I
private.
don't
Okay,
care.
secretive, whatever. But we put shit out. We all kind of worried about it, and then we got over it quickly. It was like, you know, all right, whatever. People, and that's what we get the most feedback. It's like, you guys are so open and honest. And it's like,
Yeah, you guys are so real. I appreciate that the most.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, man.
It's still
And I
hard
will
for
say,
me.
and in comment to your voice, Apple, when I first heard your voice, I assumed you were like this like beautiful, whimsical little 20-year-old man. Like you just are so childlike in nature.
Wow.
And then I remember I saw you and I was like, wow, like I love that you just are the way you are. Cause like I'm looking at you and in my head, I'm still seeing this like young man who probably just like runs around skipping through fields.
Wow. Well,
You can tell me if
Wes.
I'm wrong, but that's what I see.
No,
Wes, this is the best
He's
thing
a,
I've ever
he's a
heard.
skipper, Wes.
Yes, thank you. Wes is my favorite person. No, I appreciate that, man. Wow.
You know,
That's funny.
it's something that I wanted to get into with you guys. I mean, I know that we're sharing a show right now, so I don't want to take over, but
I'm taking
But
over.
I want to ask a question that I kind of got answered when you were here at the house, but I'd like to dig into it more. Is like what you said about the crossover between Pretty Lights and the Grateful Dead community. I want to know about that because I've never been to a Pretty Lights show. And so I don't have that frame of reference or experience in my head to understand what you mean. So can you help me out with that?
I don't even know where the fuck to begin with that.
I like the look on your face when you said you've
From
never
the
been to a
top.
show. Wes, when we said you've never been
Okay,
to a show.
talk about
it's
your
like,
first Pretty Lights show. Like, okay, how do you even know about Pretty Lights? How was it, what, like, I guess turned on, but not even like, where did you listen? Who, what, where, when,
So-
why, how?
The notion of getting turned on is actually something that I learned about through your podcast. And I don't know if that like phrase is part of like our culture's vernacular. I would love for it to be. And that's kind of
Yeah.
a question that we have started asking a lot of our guests about like their, just like the moment that it clicked for them is like at their first show when they were like absolutely hooked. And I hear that a lot in Grateful Dead culture, but I always want, and it made me start to think about what it's like for people in our community. So I guess the way that I found out about Pretty Lights was through, I guess just like through the internet and through this social media platform called Tumblr. Are you guys familiar with
Yeah.
that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which I don't think anyone uses anymore, but I remember just like coming across it on Tumblr, like not really paying attention to it. And then he was playing a show in Albany, which is near Syracuse. And my college roommate was like, we should totally go. And I was in that phase of my life where I would go to like any EDM show like ever that was like within throwing distance of Syracuse. So I went and I really liked it. It didn't click for me until a couple shows later and until I did a really deep dive with his entire discography. But I guess it's just the feelings that it gives you. And what does it for me is that like it really, I think Pretty Lights is it's like for emotions that words can't describe. And it really helped me process a lot of things that like I just didn't have the vocabulary to process. I didn't have like the tools and the resources to process. So I was able, it was like an outlet for me. And there were a couple other DJs that did that for me too, but Pretty Lights like really helped me tap into certain emotions that I wasn't able to access otherwise.
Like what?
Words you
Like-
can't describe.
No, I want description.
describe
Describe the undescribable.
I know it's so hard, but I would say like loss, regret, like melancholy, like all of this, I had this really, I had this tough experience of sexual trauma that happened to me towards the end of high school. And I just did not have the resources to process it at all. And Pretty Lights is known for using samples in his music, and that's kind of like it's sample based music. And so there are just these certain lyrics that he uses as hooks throughout his songs that really resonate with me. Like for example, I think in this song called Something's Wrong, it's like sometimes I feel like I haven't learned anything, when you just kind of you're in this like pattern and you're in this cycle and you don't know why. And you just feel like you keep repeating your mistakes. And you're at this time in your life, like in college, for example, where you're kind of like fucking up all the time and you don't really know how to do anything yet. And you just feel like you haven't learned anything yet because you keep fucking up. Or there's this other beautiful hook from this song called A Million Tomorrows where it's, it's, what is it? It's, I can't understand why the feeling is gone, but it's a million tomorrows for one yesterday. That's what I'd gladly pay. And it just kind of makes me think about like what happened to me, and it's, and like what I would trade for it to not happen to me. It's like, would I trade a million tomorrows? Would I trade the future that's in front of me just to be able to have like one chance to not make the mistake that I made?
Wow.
Just things like that I really hadn't thought about. And it just helped me process things.
It's really,
There was therapy.
well, that, and it's, you could basically be describing the same experience that it was for me to go to my first show.
And for a lot of people,
And
their
for-
first shows, musical.
It really,
Music allows you to release things in a way that you don't even expect to do. Like, you don't expect it, and it just comes out. And that's how music makes you dance. Like, think about it. On your regular everyday, you're not just dancing all the time. I mean, maybe there's a few rare people in this world. There's a few, but when you hear something, there's something that makes your body emote, and the healing channels that it's able to touch, especially when you have like repetitive phrases, and you can think about that, it's like as a mantra, and just kind of get into that flow and tap that space that is traumatized or in need of repair or needs to be soothed. And that is amazing, that description that you just said about Pretty Lights.
what about you, Wes?
So for me, it was I had known about him a lot longer before I had seen him. So he's from Colorado. He grew up in a town like 30 minutes from where I grew up. And it was like a friend's older brother was like, hey, like, listen to this. And I was like, oh, this is like really cool. But, you know, I wasn't a big music kid growing up. My father passed away when I was a kid. And then my mom is from South America and just like doesn't have super good music taste. Like, I listen to a lot of Ecuadorian windpipe albums, like
Oh my
some
gosh,
pretty
I'd love to hear
off-brand shit
some.
that's certainly cool in its own regard. But, you know, like my mom wasn't ever like, hey, like, do you want to know about Pink Floyd? And I was just like, no, I don't know shit about Pink Floyd. It's like all this stuff I had to learn about later. But for me, it was, I went to Mountain Jam in 2014 because at the time, you know, I was really into the jam scene, and I was going to see Tedeschi Trucks for like my third time. And they were my favorite group at the time, and they still are because they're perfect. And,
I can't disagree with that.
yeah, I mean, they're just the best band, like objectively. I'm not even putting my own biases in it. They're just perfect. But Pretty Lights was on this lineup, and I was like, oh shit, like that'd be cool. Like, I didn't go to electronic shows. I didn't know what that vibe was about, but I remember just being there, and I had, you know, moments at shows where I'd done acid, which was a new thing for me. And just like, I also have a lot of trauma from my past. And it was when I take acid, you know, it's my ego just kind of leaves, and I'm just there, and I'm present, and I'm experiencing what's going on in front of me. And for Pretty Lights, I was sober, and I had that kind of feeling where it was just like the whole experience was like so encompassing between like the sound and the lights and the music. And it was music that I known from what I had heard, but it was like a lot of hip hop stuff. And I was like a big hip hop kid, and he was playing these hip hop tracks. And like Elizabeth talked about, like some of the songs, just like it's this party, and then it turns into like a real kind of awakening moment where I've recently come to talk about Pretty Lights music as like, it's music for people that have anxiety but just want to have a good time, you know? Because like the guy Derek himself, I think he's a lot like Jerry Garcia, where he is like very in tune with pain, and he is able to channel that into the ways that are helping others in like a dancing way, you know? Like you see people at Dead shows twirling around. Like I see the same thing at PL shows, people that are closing their eyes and just there, but also somewhere else where they need to be as well. And it's, I get chills just thinking about it.
Me
Yeah, man.
too. You just
Yeah,
gave
man.
me chills. This is incredible. I'm opened up to a brand new thing today. You guys have just exploded my mind into a brand new thing.
You know, the first, so I obviously was around in the 80s during the whole rave thing when it started, but it was younger people that were doing it, so that I missed it. I was like on tour with the Dead, and then after that raising a family, and when that was all happening. And so when we started going to shows again, and music came back into our lives as this force, I knew that there was crossover, but intellectually I understood it, but I didn't know what it felt like. And I didn't know where it sat, didn't know why. And we went to Summer Meltdown last year.
Mm-hmm.
Sometime
August
that
last
wasn't
year.
today. We went to Summer Meltdown, and
In the past.
yeah, and Tipper was playing, and
That's a spicy boy.
bro,
Dude.
I mean, I was puffing a DMT pen during his set, and so
So was everybody else in
Yeah.
the entire
Yeah.
place.
So-
Yeah, that's the vibe.
I was like, I had done DMT several times prior, and my stance on that was like, why would anybody do this at a show? You should not be doing DMT when you're out partying, like blah, blah. And then I'm at Summer Meltdown, and I had taken ecstasy the night before, and I was kind of burnt out, and I was like on the fence whether I was going to do anything again that night. And Mel was like, "Oh, we brought the pen," and I was like, "Fuck yeah, let's do that." And so when Tipper came on and started playing, like they said, that whole place smelled like a brand new tennis shoe on fire, and I started hitting the pen, and I quickly came to realize what is going on, like what that scene is about and why it does cross over. And it, to me, that place that you're talking about, when somebody is standing in the back of the venue or on the side and they're spinning and they're there, but they're not there, or you see the people that are just drenched in sweat, grinding their teeth, dancing the whole night, or the person that's sober, drenched in sweat, dancing their ass off all night. It's all the same place, whether it's at a Grateful Dead show, whether it's at a Pretty Lights show, whether it's at a Tipper show, whether it's Tedeschi Trucks, or even the Philharmonic. It's a musical space where all people that are there are coming together in a collective consciousness, and the music, and there ceases to be a separation between the music and the listener. It becomes one thing, and you're in this like outside of time existent field of energy that you can touch and will respond to you, and also responds to you emotionally. So you'll have a feeling and the music will play it, or the other way around. And there's no difference, is what I'm trying to say in a really fucking long-winded kind of a way. There is no difference. I think it's an actual, like, if you could say I went to South America, like that's a place, that is also a place that is happening when we're all together dancing to music. And it's been going on for as long as we've been banging on sticks around a fire.
Yeah. Now, I think you said something there that just triggered a Pretty Lights like brain moment I have, which is just too much of those. It's like, that's how my brain is. But that whole experience you described, there's a Pretty Lights song called Out of Time. And when you listen to it, that is the exact sentiment you get while listening to that, is that you're existing in this place. It's not the normal space of time, but it's just another place.
And it to me, it completely took over for me.
Yeah.
I walked into that show one person, my first show in 89, and walked out somebody else, literally. Like that's not like a figurative, metaphoric, cute play on words. Like, walked in one person and came out another.
And changed the direction of life.
And it completely altered the course of my life. And I've even said to Mel, like, in that space of like, when you're way out of your head and the music is happening and we've all synced up, I feel the most me I can possibly feel in that space. I'm the most in control of my emotion. My anxiety is 100% gone. My second guessing the power I have in the universe is not there anymore. I feel the most in my skin when I'm out of my head. And the Grateful Dead have a lyric, he's been there so long, he's got to call in at home. And I really feel like that. Like, it's been so fucking many times now. It's like, oh, that's the space where I fit and where I did find my family, and you did too. And that's strange to me that's a commonality.
Well, that's when you're just talking about that is the same thing. But the thing that I see too is it's the same thing. The only thing different to me, and I learned this at Meltdown, I'd never really gotten my wig flipped by electronic music. I love listening to it when I've been drinking or something at home. I saw like the Chemical Brothers back in the 90s, like kind of that stuff. But last year with Tipper, and then it was Closey, and
Polish Ambassador.
And then the one that Polish Ambassador.
Yeah, that was amazing.
But G. Jones, too. G. Jones was there, and that blew my fucking mind. And then you guys were like,
that's what I was gonna say. We weren't
Yeah, we
there
were
for
burnt
that.
out.
you guys they heard it from the camp.
Yeah.
G. Jones is a little more like, and that I had never danced. I learned that I can move a new way that night. Dancing to Tipper, like by the time I got to Tipper, he was the second one that night that was like electronica kind of. I was dancing. I mean, I was like primeval. I was like reaching the ground, pulling energy up, throwing it, and people were throwing it at me. And it was a dance I didn't know I had in me. And then, so, I mean, like that too. Even though I got flipped a long time ago with the music thing, there's new and different things out there. And we discovered bluegrass in the last couple
You
of years.
can teach an old dog new tricks.
Yeah, like bluegrass. We all got sprung on bluegrass going to Northwest String Summit last year. We were never hanging around dancing to bluegrass. Now we are all the time. Like I mean, there's so many outlets and everything that take you to that one place that is so amazing.
Now, those moments you talk about in bluegrass where you find yourself dancing to, do you think that those are the moments where there's lyrics, or there's those pure instrumental moments where you're just kind of feeling sound?
Instrumental. For me, it's instrumental.
More instrumental, but throughout. Well, because then when it gets to the instrumental, that's where you maybe dance a little, but then when it gets to the instrumental, that's where you're like where you're really getting down. Yeah.
I think that's kind of the big commonality between the two genres. And it's something I've been thinking about all day, just because I was like so excited to have this conversation, because it is like, when I'm hearing you talk about it, it's just so similar how the music of like your generation compared to like Elizabeth and I, who I guess I'll call ourselves millennials now.
How old are you two?
But like, 27.
Okay.
Yeah, 27.
So it's like, the jam music that when I started to get hooked were those like big instrumental moments, like when Mo would start going off on like musical segues, like, and I'm like, what is this? Is this one of their songs? And people go, no, but it's sick. I'm like, that is sick. And then, it's something you feel. And then like with electronic music, it's that bass. It's like, it's so primal. Like, I feel like it gets in your body, and there's like, you're like, well, I have to like move like this because it's in me like that.
It's making you
and
do
it makes
it.
you surge.
Well, like right before we moved to Portland, Aaron and I were really getting into going to drum circles out in the desert when we lived in Las Vegas. And I didn't realize how much I needed to dance to drums until that time. Like, I was like, where the hell has this been my whole life? Why wasn't I doing it? And I would just, I wouldn't care if there was 20 women there or 20,000 men, or it didn't matter who was there. I was in my own world, and it was the desert. So it was like, like raw and kind of just very earthy. And I realized how much dance and music are part of like shaking that. You have to like shake out the dross of your body and your spirit and your auric field and your emotions and all of these toxins, and move your lymphatic system and like get your, like, I'm learning all this through like, when I was working in the spa, in like intuition, lyrics, just things that would come to me, and realizing in all the ways that music and drumming and lyrics can take you to these places that heal you in unpredictable, incredible ways, like layers upon layers. That's what like was my turn on, like that brought me to the music. Like I can listen to lyrics and be like, oh my God, that's why I love Bruno Mars so much, because it's not like he's like the best in ever. He came to me in a time where he shook my cage. Like his lyrics were so personal to me, and then he got me moving with his beat. That's what drew me in, and I was like, oh shit, like he is talking my like language, and it just it was like, and so it impacted me like a PL show or a Dead show or Joe Russo show or whatever. And I wasn't even at a Bruno Mars concert. I was in my car driving to work. Like it was such, I guess what I'm saying is that the music and the togetherness, that conscious space, like we can have it so many ways. And I just, that's it. We can have it so many ways because I was like I said, sitting in my car, here we are at shows getting that energy off of each other and the lyrics and the music or drum circles. Like it is necessary for, you know,
it's very necessary.
For period.
Yeah. And we're all really missing that this year.
That's what I wanted to ask you guys. Like, how are you doing through this? I mean, obviously the answer is this sucks. But like, I've been asking everybody because we need other people's perspectives right now, because all we have is our own heads, and this is a tough space for people like all of us. We're in a really hard spot because we can't do the thing that
we loved to do.
Is our therapy. You know what I mean? So I know what my coping mechanisms are right now, and some of them aren't working. To be honest, like I'm having a hard time, and I'm just curious, what are you guys doing to like fill that gap, if anything?
Woo, that was freaking amazing, man.
Oh, Set Break
I'm
is
so glad Set Break's here.
Perfect timing.
But hey, have you guys ever listened to Pretty Lights?
Out of a Pretty Light
that you got from Electric Fish Lights?
Shit, we have.
Go over to electricfishlights.com or at electricfishlights on Instagram. And you know what? You are going to find out. You're going to find out something amazing.
Just wait.
These are IQ lights. And you're going, Aaron,
what's an IQ light?
There it is. See, I knew you guys were doing that. It stands for interlocking quadrilateral. It's a system made of 30 interlocking pieces that can be configured into 15 different shapes. And when you add more pieces, the shapes are endless. You design it, they build it, choose your shape, size, and color. All lamps come fully assembled and are ready to be plugged in when they arrive. They are all made from upcycled vinyl, like milk jug plastic, and come with a 12-foot cord, a 12-year energy efficient, safe to leave on LED bulb, and a hardware kit to hang the light. They're great for your festival, easy up at your next festival, when those start happening again.
Yay.
Any room in your house, your fan cave, your night light for your kids, trippy color changing light, white, elegant light, colorful light. They could be a Christmas tree topper. You could hang them on your porch. You could put them on the moon. You could send them to I don't know, somewhere else.
Possibilities are endless.
They are endless.
Wow.
So, and I forgot to tell you, they can be used outdoors. And if you use the promo code NSR when you check out, you're going to get 10% off. And
10% off.
But wait, there's more.
You're going to get that bonus poster
if you order the color changing upgrade on your light.
And what is this bonus poster? What is this all about?
Well, if you look right behind me, Mel, there's a No Simple Road poster that was designed by Electric Fish Lights and myself.
Wow.
So you will get a limited edition
of conductor art in your home.
And when you turn this light on, the poster comes to life. Not just this poster, any poster picture you have, it changes the game with that stuff. When you have all these hanging on your wall.
Basically, Electric Fish Lights is a fun night, a fun day, and
it's
fun
a fun
life.
Light.
Oh.
Electric Fish Lights is a fun light.
Fun light.
So go to electricfishlights.com or at Electric Fish Lights on Instagram. Use the promo code NSR20. And I'm sorry.
Wait, don't use that. NSR.
That's for the other place that we put.
No.
NSR is the promo code that you use, and they will hook you up with 10% off. And what?
No, and that poster.
And the poster.
Yeah, and so go on over
there. And
there.
a good time.
There it is.
And light up your life. Yeah. Oh, and after you're done lighting up your life, you know what?
You should light it up again.
Well, right now is a good time while the lights are up, before we go back here, to get some premium cannabis.
Ooh,
from where?
Oh, well, you could head over to Define Premium Cannabis. So if you're up in the Portland area, we have a location in Hillsboro. We have a location in Forest Grove. We are there to take care of you.
Yeah, you guys are.
Your mind, body, and soul. We got bath salts. We got bath bombs.
Okay, those bath salts, they just need a minute. Get yourself some bath salts. If you're tired, if you're sore, if you feel run down, if you want to get rejuvenated, get yourself bath salts. You will not regret it.
That's one thing that Aaron likes also on
Yeah.
top of the CBD.
Aaron likes the bath
Aaron
salts.
likes the bath salts. He gets faded, but we got you covered there. We got your lotions. We got your dabbables, vapables, smokables. We got premium cannabis in jars all ready to go. And if you come in and visit us, make sure you tell us that you listen to No Simple Road.
Yeah, tell me
You
you're
will
part of the
get
No Simple Road
10
family.
Yeah, and you will get 10% off your purchase.
What?
And
10% off
free t-shirt.
weed?
and a free t-shirt. So make sure you tell us. And if you come to the Hillsborough location, that's where I work at.
If you come in there
I will
Monday through
come
Friday,
out of the
Apple will
double doors.
come out of the back as a transformer. He looks like a semi-truck when he comes out of the back, but he actually does that way. And he turns back into Apple, and Apple says, "Can I help you?" And then he takes you to the case, and he helps you pick out the cannabis product that best
tend
suits
your
your
bud.
needs. Yep. So go to one of the locations here in Portland, one in Hillsborough, one in Forest Grove. Ask for Apple. Tell them you listen to No Simple Road. You get 10% off and a free t-shirt. And take care of your head, man. And you know what?
I hear something. There's a rumbling going
coming
on.
back.
There is. The
are going
lights. The
down.
lights are getting pretty
Oh
again.
shit! Oh,
Here we go.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that the coping mechanisms aren't working and that that you're having a hard time. And I'm kind of experiencing something similar. And luckily there is a pretty light song for this feeling, and it goes by the name of Up and Down I Go, because that's just been the nature of my whole quarantine, is that I don't know why it is. I think it's maybe because I'm working from home and I don't have that built-in separation. And maybe it's also because of the lack of music and that outlet. But my mental health ups and downs are just so much more amplified than they have ever been. And it's really hard for me to deal with. I guess you could just call them mood swings. Like, it's just, sometimes it's almost like manic depression almost. And like, I ask my therapist every week, I'm like, am I manic? Like, what is going on? But like, I usually, like right now, I feel normal, happy, good. But then all of a sudden sometimes, and I think it's hormonal too, but sometimes I just get into these lows that last anywhere from like 1 to 10 days. And I'm just like, I don't know what this is. I don't know how to get out of it. And it's just, I think now that I know when they're coming and how to identify them, I kind of just like ride them out. But I think, indeed. But it's just the amplification of those ups and downs has just been really hard to deal with. But I think this podcast has really helped me personally, because the best part about it is that we just get to reflect on all of these like wonderful memories and experiences that we've had. So it's almost like you're reliving them or living through someone else's experience vicariously. So that has been really helpful for me personally.
Yeah.
What about you, Wes?
I mean, every time people ask me this question, I'm always like, do I give like the polite, quick answer?
No.
Or like, do I just really dig into it? But
This is the dig in time.
This is the dig time.
Yeah.
What else do we have is this conversation?
Fuck it.
What are we all
Right.
going to do after this? You know, like,
Yeah.
we really do want to know how you're doing, you know?
yeah, I mean, this year sucks. This has been one of my absolute worst years. I mean, and then the fact that there's a pandemic happening too, it's like, ooh, you know, the extra kick to the nuts. But I'm
So
in
this
this
was
weird
going on
place where
pre-COVID.
like I miss connection a lot, you know, and that's what we're talking about, is the things that we all miss is the connection. And, you know, I was really busy working in the music industry. I was doing like 90 hours a week, and I was burnt out, and I was just feeling tired and jaded. So at first it was like kind of nice to slow down. But then as the prospect of like not working ever again came back, I was like, well, fuck. So then, you know, I had to pick up a job. Like, I'm working a job that I don't like, which is like the first time I've done that since college. And then I dealt with the loss of my grandma recently, which was like, it's my first time with loss in the family. And she was like my best friend. And, you know, it's my dad's grandma or my dad's mom. So we had already had a very tight bond just because, you know, my dad was her oldest son who died. And then I was her first grandkid. So it's just been really weird. And, you know, I have a lot of unhealthy coping mechanisms that I'm now like, I'm proud of myself because I'm not turning towards them, but fuck, do I want to? And it's just tough.
We were just talking about this.
Yeah. And, you know, I'm just like, well, like, fuck, like I could just go to the liquor store and just buy a bottle and just kind of hang out. Like, I don't know, but I'm not. And I'm just sitting with these emotions and I'm letting them kind of take their toll on me, which is like what I know I should be doing, but I'm just over it. You know,
So
and
what
like
stops
Elizabeth
you?
said,
Wow.
What's that?
What stops you from making shitty choices? From going to the liquor store, say, or whatever.
I have just made those mistakes so many times in a row. And I think the lesson finally got drilled in after
Yeah.
fucking 10 years of being an absolute ignoramus.
Yeah.
But,
Repetition.
yeah,
Dude.
you know,
We learn through repetition, Wes.
Yeah.
Look, I know that some habits are way more unhealthy than others to continue in a row. That is definitely, out there. But sometimes we do need to get knocked over our head more than once to learn the lesson. And that's just what it is, It's not good or bad. It's what it was.
yeah.
Just as a thing to not try to beat yourself up. Oh, you already made a shitty choice. Now you're going to beat yourself up about making the shitty choice. Like, come on,
Right.
at least just, take one punch, not two.
Yeah.
It's very strange, dude. Again, the synchronicity thing comes up. You're describing a conversation that we had today. Like, you even said words that I said today, just now. It really goes to show that that experience that we have at a show when we're all connected doesn't end when we walk out the venue door. It's continuing all the time. It's not like when the music's over, the switch is shut off. You're turned on. I drew a picture a long time ago, and it's an on button, it says on underneath it, and you would push the button, and there's like all this like musical notes and shit coming out of the top of it, and there's no off button next to it. You're turned on. That's it. And there is a collective consciousness. There is a vibrational field that we are all connected to that doesn't know distance. It doesn't know miles or time. It's just is a thing, and we're in it, and we're all feeling it, man. I've fucking had it. Enough already. Like, I'm over it. That's what I said today. I'm fucking over it. And it's 10 months in, and I don't want to sound like defeatist or negative, or I'm just being real. Like, 10 months in, like, enough's enough is how I feel. And like, when are the cops going to show up and bust this party that's happening? Or like, when's mom coming home to make everything better? Like, none of that's happening. There's no
Knight in shining armor.
No, there's no. So what the conclusion that I've come to for me, and maybe this will help you guys out, is the moment that we're existing in time right now, there's a unique opportunity in this for all of us. This thing can be the thing that crushes us and finally finishes us off. That's a possibility. That's option A. Or option B is to really get behind the availability of time that's happening right now and put our passion into something creative and put something out into the world. And whether that's doing a podcast, writing, painting, singing a song, playing a fucking pan flute, whatever the thing is, do something with this time that will outlast you being in it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think that's what the podcast is doing for me. Like Elizabeth said, is like, it's cool. And you said that fear about having something that's just out there, like, at least as of now, I'm looking at that from a very positive lens where I'm like, it'll be so fun to look at this in like 5 years when I know like I'll be fine and be like, man, like, do you remember how fucking scared you were? And like, you started this podcast with like one of your best friends, and like, you're still doing it, because I'm assuming we're still doing this in 5 years. It's part of my 5-year plan.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm just like, I'm excited to be looking back from the future, because I know it'll be all right.
Wow.
Talk about optimism. That's a really good lens to look through, because, yeah, I think I've had a shitty year too. I'm midway, and I'm denial plus realism. Like, I know there's a problem, but I'm not going to say there is.
Yeah, we don't want to admit
I don't want to get that out in the air, and to for people to smell it or see it. And all of that shit has come to light this year for me. Like all of my little shitty habits of how I keep myself in the dark about what's really going on in myself, and how my shadow side has been begging for like at least to be acknowledged, instead of like, you know, it's just all the things that have come up because of the time we have to stew over or mill over or look over our lives and our habits and our collections. It really is like no other time in our life, because from here, no matter what, our best feet are going to go forward, because we've gone through some shit. If you get through this, you've gone through some crazy ass shit, and however you made it, you did it. So that's how I'm looking at it.
Everybody gets a participation medal.
Hey,
there's definitely
and everybody can make their own medal. You could be 50th, you can be first, you can be a tiger, you can be a, you know, lamp, whatever you want to do. But that's how I see it. Like, we're all collectively going through something hard, and that something hard is us. We're having to scrape through and dredge through the crust and the mucus and the funk of our personalities and our habits.
We were able to ignore before.
Yes.
With so many excuses, not excuses, but so many things where everybody was so busy.
Busyness.
Like Wes, you were working 90 hours a week. You know, we were all, it was so easy to not go inside your head and your body.
Yeah.
And we've all had to do that, and our homes and each other.
Yep.
Whoa.
I think it was on a timer.
That was weird. And the thing that you said about substance abuse too, man, like, I don't know how much you've listened to NSR, but I had a heroin problem, and Apple had a meth problem.
I have heard.
Yeah, we both like sticking stuff in our arms.
Yeah, and
that's what came up this morning.
Yeah, like if there was ever a time, it would be now. You know what I mean? But like you, I know the result. I know.
Well, wait, hold on. You go further, because the look on Mel's face, like, what were you guys? The reason I brought up is because, which this was good too. Just in a nutshell, me and Aaron, I guess, have been getting on each other's nerves. We both knew it. Weren't saying. We had a little blowout this morning.
Underlying shade.
And it needed to be said. We both each other. When was the last time we said "fuck you"? We both like earnestly, "Fuck you, fuck you." And he stormed out of the house, and then I immediately, after 2 minutes, followed him out, and then we talked for 20. But we both agree. It's like, dude, we got to keep this strong. This shit's getting us down. It's starting to kind of pull us apart a little, and we're not talking as much. And the one thing we both agreed, like, if he didn't have Mel and me, if I didn't have my support, if he was on his own or I was on my own, Vegas, wherever the hell we were at, we would be going. It'd be so easy to go back to that fucking person, that dark passenger, as we, kind of like just be like, yes, that'll make me feel good. But it makes you feel good for, especially with liquor too. I get that, dude. I have issues with that. They know that. It makes you feel so good for one night, but then the crap that comes after it, the physical and mental after, sometimes you want it. Sometimes it's worth. You can like legitimize
talk yourself into it.
Like I'm gonna really enjoy Friday night, but the next 3 days are gonna suck.
But I'm with you, man.
Be tough. You are
the knowledge of the aftermath is what keeps me going. And also like you and I and everybody, like, we've got people that care about us, and we're doing something special, whether we realize it or not. Like, you guys are really doing something amazing for your community
and yourselves,
and giving that community a voice that can go out and can be heard outside of it is gigantic, man. I never realized that was even a thing that could happen before No Simple Road. And I would have never even thought of it had listeners not said it to us. Do you know what I mean? Like, so it's important work, man. And you're giving back to something that has given you so much. And so just in that, like that, sit with that feeling when you're low a little bit. I mean, I know those low feelings, and sometimes that doesn't quite cut it, but it's another arrow in your quiver, your arsenal to fight that demon off when it shows up on your door, man.
And this podcasting thing, you've both said it, and we say it all the time. This podcast, especially this year, it's a savior. It's like medicine to be able to do this. Because it gives us something to look forward to, like booking guests, hearing feedback. It's given us something when the five of us here are so used to being able to go out, go to those festivals, get those connections, which have been taken away. We have this. A lot of people don't, and we are hearing. That's what I was just going to say, and we've been hearing that about months ago. We were like, this makes us feel, and then we've got more feedback. Like, I appreciate you guys so much more during this because you're keeping the conversation going, and you're giving us new. It's both sides.
New input.
I'm curious with you guys. What's the plan for post-COVID for the show?
What is a city without its music?
The legacy of the New York Philharmonic is incredible.
Nearly 2 centuries of history. That's a lot of music and a lot of stories.
I was sitting on stage for the very first time thinking, I can't quite believe this is happening.
Join me, Jamie Bernstein, as we explore the history of the New York Philharmonic. It's the NY Phil story made in New York, a podcast about a city, its people, and their orchestra. Listen wherever you get podcasts.
That's a good question. I'm not sure that I've thought about that too much yet, but I mean, I would love to do more things in person besides just being able to do something in person with Wes. I would love to do more like show specific things, like some of the stuff you guys have done where you've gone to festivals. I think you've done like so Summer Meltdown at like High Sierra. Like I'd love to kind of do something at an actual festival and like cover the actual event in this way. Yeah. But I don't know. It's all still just like a work in progress, and we're kind of just still getting feedback from people and just seeing where it goes.
What's the response been like?
I've been surprised by how many people have reached out. Because honestly, Aaron, one of the best pieces of advice that you gave me, I think it was when Christina and our friends spent some time at your house. You were like, "Don't look at the numbers," and I was like, "Okay," because anytime I log into Simplecast, which is the platform that we use, like our numbers are more than modest. They're very modest, but like we didn't. Once you told that to me, I was like, I'm really not doing this for the numbers. It's kind of like a social experiment, if anything, to see what comes out of it. But we've had like maybe 5 or 6 people reach out now, which I know doesn't seem like a lot, but like even the first person that did it, I was like, it's all fucking worth it.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't, yes. I'm like, it doesn't matter that like, I don't think I'm the best host in the world. Like, it doesn't matter if I'm a mediocre host. It doesn't matter if my editing skills are mediocre. Like, it's the content that matters. It's the quality of the conversation and like the perspectives of our guests. Like, this isn't about me and my perspective. It's about our guests' perspectives for me. And like, just hearing that it resonates with people and people being like, oh yes, I've been wanting something like this. I've been looking for something like this. I'm like, oh, good. This is what I wanted. And even if it's just like 3 people listening, I'm just so fucking happy that it resonates with some people. So it's been great.
Wow. And that's what matters too. And you know what's going to happen from that? Because what we've learned, one of our biggest things we ask is like, whatever, Patreon, this and that, tell a friend. And when somebody digs you that much, what are they going to do? Their friends are like-minded.
Oh, dude, listen to this
podcast. They're going to tell them. That's how we've seen, that's how it really grows to our community.
Well, that's how we all find out about the really good jams. Like, dude, have you heard this tweezer from fucking whenever? Or, how it goes. And it's not by some Spotify playlist. It's my friend.
Well, now it kind of is too, a little.
I'm curious with you guys in your podcast. I mean, because we interview, didn't start out that way. It didn't happen for a little bit where we reached out to musicians, and we haven't asked many, but it seems like it's harder to get to electronic artists to do interviews. They're not as willing. I was just wondering if you guys have thought about it or...
I think we've been pretty lucky with our guests so far, just because most of them are people that like we've talked to in some sort of happenstance before. Like I used to do some freelance stuff for Live for Live Music. So I've done like written pieces and interviews, like, you know, a couple people we reached out to through there, like people I met through that. But, you know, one of the artists, Mr. Bill, Elizabeth reached out to just because, you know, she is doing stuff about sexual misconduct in our kind of the electronic scene. And he was affiliated with a group that was working on that. But we don't know. We are just literally, we talk about it. We're like, who should we message? Like, do we just slide in their DMs? Like, what's the move here? And like, I expect that some of the electronic artists, you know, like we're in kind of like Tipper. There's a guy named Jade Cicada who's like of that same cadence. And I was thinking about messaging him, but, you know, I'm like, he probably will say no because I know he's a very private person. But I'm not sure if that's pretty regular with all these guys or what the deal is with that. But like, who have you guys tried reaching out to? Who would you like to talk to in the electronic realm?
Tipper was one we reached out to and kind
we
of
got a no,
like not like a maybe, thank you, but like no.
Oh, and Bass Nectar too.
Before the whole Bass Nectar thing happened.
Yeah, before that,
I reached out to them, and they actually got back to us because of the crossover between Grateful Dead and Bass Nectar's whole thing, and that's how I presented it to them, and they were like, you know, we're interested. It's not going to happen right now, but we are going to hold on to the email and if in the future. So him and shit. That's all.
Yeah, you guys shot right for the top. Good for you.
Why
not? We're hitting like undercards.
You know what, man? That's how this began.
It's what we knew.
My advice always to Aaron was always because he's like, oh my God, you know, he like will mill over it, but he'll act immediately. He just needs the encouragement, you know? So I'm like, babe, so what? What are they going to say? No? Okay, then let's move on. Like, and he also is from that mindset because of his dad, you know, being in the entertainment industry. Like, you don't aim for the dirt. You just don't, you know, you got to put your head up. You got to, you know, put your chest up. And so he just needs the encouragement. And I was like, why not say something? Go for it.
That's how we got O'Teal on the show. Like we had like 12 or 13 episodes or some shit like that. We were nothing. And I just DM'd him. Fuck it. All they can say is no. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even know them. I can't even be embarrassed. You know what I'm saying?
Here's the bass player for Dead and Company we're reaching out to. We'll try, but expecting no.
And 10 minutes later, I get a
boom.
Here's my number. Like, do I call him? What do I do? Should I take a shower? Do I? You know,
he did take a shower. It's fine. The day of the interview, he's like, I feel like I need to take a shower before we.
No, you know,
get on the audio.
Wait a minute. I just have to say
before I forget this. In booking guests, I'm going to give you a piece of advice. When you reach out to somebody to have them on your show, there are, as of today, there are over 1 million podcasts in the world. Why would a guest want to come on your show? Right? You have to pose it that way. Give them a reason to want to come on your show. An angle that you want to interview them from, a topic that you're passionate about, that they're passionate about, where you intersect, something where you have a commonality with them, not just, hey, we have this podcast and we really like you to come on and be a guest. Who are you and why would I want to do that is a lot of the attitude, right? But if you're like, hey, I know that you've had sexual misconduct stuff in the past and we're dealing with that subject right now in the show, we feel like our listeners could really benefit from hearing your voice. Give it a shot. You know, because the thing that I've come to realize with these guys is apart from using a podcast to promote, there's no reason for them to come on other than to connect with the fans. And the people that we're dealing with and you guys are dealing with are real human beings that aren't rock stars for the most part. And they want to connect with the fans in a visceral way. So if we give them that opportunity, then they're going to reciprocate with us.
Now, a question for you in regards to that. Like when you're prefacing this to people you have come on your show, do you let them know that you guys have like some of the most genuinely heartfelt conversations, or does that just kind of happen in the moment? Because I'm always very impressed with how like it'll be the middle of an interview, and then like with the Keller Williams one I was listening to the other day, it just then was talking about mental health, you know, and like he seemed really cool about it, but I could see that catching someone off guard. And I guess I've been a little nervous about it on our end too.
You know, the only pre-warning that I give ever to who we are is I say, sometimes in a introductory email where I'm reaching out, I'll say, what do I say? No Simple Road is not your typical interview show. We are not doing an interview. We're having a conversation.
Yeah, open conversation.
That's it. So no.
Right on.
Yeah, I just
and like that, like you talked about that specific, like Keller, that was nothing ever mentioned. We didn't know it was going to go there. That just happened, and usually they bring it up.
I feel like, you know, well, I know No Simple Road doesn't go after topics. We go after our own life and preferences and experience, and we're not trying to debate you or trying to sell you anything or trying to be better than anybody. We're letting you into our life. The life isn't. This is like the auditory, you know, lens. You know, we're letting you into who we are. We don't. It's not debatable. You know what I mean? So, as far as I ever go into you know, conversations, I'll be very quiet sometimes and then I'll be very talkative. And it really kind of depends on, like, sometimes people are just giving so much knowledge, and who the hell am I to say one word? I don't need to interrupt this flow. I need to sit and think about this. And, you know, like, and then other times I just want to get to know who this person is. They're so interesting. I want to gobble them up, and they're so cute, and I want to know about their family, and I want to know about their mom. And other times they are so sharing already that, like, it's a beautiful tennis match. And so what I found in the way that I'm able to be comfortable with this, any type of comfort with this medium, which when I was really not at first, I was overly not, is I just you have to remember I'm in my house with my jammies on with my husband and my best friend, my brother over there. And if I don't want to talk, I just dip out. And if I want to listen, I listen. And if I want to, it's like the most Aaron was saying about being the most himself. Like, this is the most myself, you know, because and so these conversations, this is what I was coming around to, is like, this is what I feel is like the magic of our show and as a listener, because I do listen to my show, and I listen objectively and critically, very critically.
Oh yeah.
I can totally be like, oh babe, this didn't sound right, or I didn't like this, or this is weird, or I really need to not do that. And I can also, like, cry at our show, like, or remember and re-laugh at the same thing, you know? I do that a lot. And so this is what I found is the shows help me to be the most myself and start to uncover myself by being awkward and being scared and interrupting and knowing, like, oh shit, I shouldn't have done that. Like, I need to just chill back. Like, it's given me such an opportunity to learn in front of everybody, but behind the scenes at the same time.
The thing that comes to mind, if you guys haven't listened to it, we interviewed Dave Schools from Widespread Panic.
Oh my gosh.
And
that was heavy, you guys.
Mel was really quiet during the interview. And I'm like freaking out because we're talking to Dave Schools, and it's like a big deal, and it's like talking to Yoda. The dude is just like this spiritual, he's a guru. And we're having this amazing, deep conversation. And in the back of my head, as it's going down, I'm noticing that Mel is silent. And this is the kind of conversation that Mel would be like 110,000% in on. And I'm thinking, what the hell's going on? Like, why is Mel being so quiet? And so we get to the end of the thing, and we're getting ready to say goodbye. And Mel just blurts out, hey, Dave, I have to tell you something. I've never had a panic attack before, but I just had a panic attack during this interview. And strangely enough, we're talking to the guy from Widespread Panic. Mel's never had a panic attack, and she has a panic attack talking to that guy.
And they're named after the guy who was in the band that used to have panic attacks. And
that's why the band is named. Anyway,
whoa.
So to schools is like, I just had a panic attack while we're talking to you. And there ensues like 10 more minutes of them having a conversation about like, it's okay. And why it maybe happened and blah, blah, blah. But my point is like, you can't plan that shit. Do you see what I'm saying? Like in answer to your question, no, man.
Well, and he was very thankful that Mel remembered that. He was like, "Thank you for telling me."
It was
that.
such an emotional.
Like, that's weird that you would tell, but thank you. And
yeah,
then they,
that stuff's not planned.
I just always have real emotional responses. I should say not always. Let me rephrase that. I allow for real emotional responses to come over me, even in inopportune times. If I'm at work, it's okay. Like I just am. For some reason, I'm able to emote on like not hold back because I know how to rear it. Do you know, or wield it, I should say. And sometimes it takes over me, and I feel like maybe I was even channeling or something or tapping into something, but it was so real that I couldn't let the conversation go by without telling him, because it would have. If he was in my house, he would have known about it, and that's what I felt like. He's in our dining room. That's when we were and still in our dining room, but he was in our home, so to speak. And so I had to let him know what was going on and the impact that the conversation was having on me. And if you can be that sincere and just be yourself, that's my advice. Just and you two are. I can already feel it.
Yeah,
I've listened to the show. I love it. So yes, and Elizabeth, I do have to say, like, you just being so open about something so traumatizing, I feel like that deserves a Valor Award, because I have always been so schooled against being talking about anything that is taboo like that, any type of sexual taboo or mental health taboo, that for you to share that and then go one step further and try to educate and shed light, like I feel like that's what a warrior is. You're doing such an amazing job at being vulnerable in the right kind of a way. So thank you for that, because that's what I got from when I listened to the show, when I met you, and now Wes, seeing you, and I heard your voice too. Like I'm picking it up, and so
picking up what they're putting down.
just encouraging it,
And we're all teachers. You're teaching. We've learned that too. Some of the stuff where like maybe we shouldn't have said that. Then you get feedback. So many people want to say what you're saying. Need to hear somebody else say it.
Yeah.
There's so many people that keep it in and think they're alone. We've all heard, you think you're alone. You think you're, there's so many people are in the same boat that once they hear you say something, are like, it can save people.
Like I said before, one of the main things I think for the five of us to keep in mind is that feeling of when we walked into that first show and realized that we were home. And right now with your podcast, you guys, because I've listened to, you're creating that same space for people of a like mind in a time when they don't have that space. And it's huge. And just don't stop.
Kudos, yeah.
Just don't fucking stop, man. Don't overthink it. You're already doing it because you love it. And I'm also telling this to myself as I'm saying it to you.
Yeah.
Don't overthink it. Do it. You're just doing it.
This is very healthy projecting. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Good.
Right on.
Good. Because sometimes we forget that we need a cheerleader. Like that's a real position. If you would ask a cheerleader if she, was like necessary, hell yeah. Like we need that role in our life like that. Somebody who really believes in us and is encouraging and can tell you the truth and can also be that, your wingman when you need it. Like we need that.
Well,
and so I just want to say, we need to, and during those times, this is why we're recording them, is one of one of the reasons I feel like this is why we record these conversations, because somebody at some later date, either one of your listeners or one of our listeners, is going to need to hear this conversation. They're going to write into either your show or into our show, or make some kind of like, make it known that this impacted them just to hear it. And like you said earlier, Elizabeth, it could just have been one of 5 people that wrote that letter. That's all that matters. One person listening to this, that they're like, oh man, that thanks guys. Like,
one that's a trip too is like wait till you guys are going to start getting episodes behind you. When we get feedback, we're 170, 180 shows in. When we get feedback from like episode 11, that somebody just now, like yesterday, listened to, that we did 3 years ago, and it's just as relevant. They're like, that episode, and it makes me, I'm sure them too, when we hear that, we have to go back to that, like oh shit, that was so long ago, that one's just kind of in the filing cabinet, and you're like, whoa.
We're gonna have to go here in a second.
Yeah, we got somebody coming.
I have to tell you this before we go. You know, the thing that I told you about the numbers, Elizabeth, a friend of mine said something to me that really stuck with me, and like I told you when you were here at the house, I got really hung up on that for a little while. And a friend of mine, Jake, he does the Midnight on Earth podcast. Nice. He was like, dude, the pie is infinite. Nobody's taking your piece of the pie. There's infinite pie out there. So don't worry about it. Don't worry about your numbers. Don't worry about, you know, if somebody else gets a guest that you wanted or whatever, that's you should be happy for them, because they're living their dream. They're not taking anything away from you. And that was really good advice for me. I needed to hear that at the time. And just the fact that there's infinite pie out there, and if you do what you're passionate about, it's gonna come to you. It's the law of the universe. It's reciprocity. You're putting out your love out there, and that love vibrates back to you in however you want it to manifest back. You're putting your time, talent, creativity, and energy into this thing and throwing it out to the universe to see what bounces back to you. And I'm telling you guys, you're going to be fucking amazed at what happens. It's going to blow your minds. And I also want to throw out too, if you need help, let me know. I don't know everything, but I know some stuff now. I know some things about doing this just from doing it. So if you run into something and you need help, just hit me up, man. I'm here.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You guys are so wonderful. Mel, thank you so much for saying that. That really meant a lot to me. And like, I mean, I think I've told you guys already, but like we've been emulating your show, and like, I don't want it to seem like we're trying to copy you or anything, because that's not our intent, but like we just love the vibe and the energy that you guys bring, and how open and authentic and vulnerable you are. And like, when we heard that, and when we were trying to kind of come up with our own platform, we were like, we want to do it like them, because what they do is like fucking awesome. The way they cover their community is great. So like, whatever we're doing now is directly from you. Just like our music is from like the Dead's music. It's like we're pulling inspiration from your platform.
We're happy to do that. Well, not even flattering. Like, they're good. Like, because you can't be us. You're not us. You're you guys. So like, if you can use anything to help make your art or your platform or your people, that is amazing. And that's recycle, reduce, reuse.
Reduce, reuse.
You know, like it's just bringing it out there and using. Yeah, like we love that. We love that you're doing that. Continue to do your,
and then we gave encouragement to you guys. That means the world to hear that. And plus, I want to go back to the very beginning. Thank you for what you said about my voice, Wes.
It's so
makes
sexy.
Me feel a little bit better about it.
So before we take off, will you guys tell our listeners where they can find you, and then we'll do the same?
Yeah. Any closing? Any closing?
This is the thing we're the worst at. Social
like
plugs.
Each social media platform has a different, like slightly different thing. So for Instagram, it's Almost Familiar Pod.
Yes.
For Facebook, it's Almost Familiar. And if you want to email us, we're almostfamiliarpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah.
So each one is a
Smashed
little
it.
different.
Yeah.
And you're on all the platforms with all the things and Spotify's and Apple.
Oh yes, we're
blah,
on
blah, blah.
Spotify,
We are
Apple
on the internet.
Podcasts, yeah, a couple others too, but we're all on all the major platforms. Just not SoundCloud or YouTube, but
Okay.
Yeah.
So
And could you guys tell us where our listeners can check out No Simple Roads?
yes, I will. You can follow us on all social media platforms at No Simple Road because nobody else had that handle, and we were super lucky. So at
One
No
stop
Simple
shop,
Road,
baby.
yeah. I am. We are most active on Instagram. So if that's your jam, come follow us over there. If you listen to the show and you like it, please remember to subscribe to it, man. Like that is huge for us. And you can go to www.nosimpleroad.com and find out all the other stuff. There's like No Simple Road merch and pictures and memories and
Doodads, whatnot.
things that make me sad when I see them, and you guys will like it, and stuff like
Yeah, there's
that.
nothing on our calendar. We usually have a running calendar. Like, hey, you can see it.
We'll
we
be
can
at
meet
this
up,
festival.
We can meet up and dance at
Right.
Summer Meltdown. So,
I fucking had to take the calendar down.
Ugh.
Yeah, that was a
tough.
painful son of a bitch, and there's just a
Yeah.
little paragraph there. We'll be back. Like,
kind of like every band's website.
you guys, I want to do this again.
yeah.
I would love to do this
absolutely.
again.
This
I want to do
gosh.
this again.
conversation.
This
This was so much fun.
totally.
And on top of that, I would like genuinely, we're on like a hiatus for Pretty Lights outside of pandemic as well. But when that dude is back, if he's in the Northwest, you guys have to come.
Oh, yeah.
I already
We're
wanted
there.
to see him, but now
Yeah.
you've
Underscored
you've made,
it.
You've
Yeah.
made the sell.
And if they,
Apple, you are by my side, Apple, and we'll frolic.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, bro.
He's really
I'm a
great.
skipper myself.
Oh, really?
if he
So
plays
fun.
back east sometime, and
We wanna come out there.
I'll go out to see it, and we can all go together. So
Yeah,
another
we will
thing
be
we were
there for
supposed
your
to-
first show. I
Oh
will
my
not miss that.
gosh.
So.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
Okay, we got a plan.
You got a date.
Fun.
We got a
We can indoctrinate you into PLF.
I'm done. I'm down.
All right,
love
you guys,
it.
we love
Thanks
you.
so
I'm going
much,
to take a
you
quick
two.
Yeah.
picture.
Yeah.
All right.
Ta-da!
Thank you. Thank you so much, Aaron. I'll be in touch with you about
Okay.
all of, schedule stuff.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
thank you so much again.
And
Have a
if you
great
guys
rest of
Much
your
need
love,
night.
anything, I'm
everybody.
serious,
Thank you so
man.
much.
Yeah.
You, man.
Bye,
Hey,
guys.
you guys keep your heads up, all right?
You too.
Yeah.
Bye.
Recording.
I'm gonna find that button. Yeah.
All right.
Like twist and turn, the mission turn, and it's a journey. Wish the word has many problems, but it's a burden. Family needs has been deferred, and hell of me has been the earth. And alchemy can bring the birth, the melody of a newborn. So persistent, so resistant, so insistent, so commitment, so resilient, or haven't you learned it? Still, no simple road. 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 My windshield is shattered as I focus through the spot in the corner that is still intact. The react is both a defense mechanism as well as a fear. We've traveled this road before, so we may think, but it's a tad bit of strange similarities that feed an A=A complex. The fears of your past do not equal the perplexities of the current road.
Hey listeners, I want to tell you about the April-May 2023 issue of Relics magazine. Features a Dave Matthews Band cover story with additional articles and interviews with The National, Graham Nash, Wayne Shorter, ALO, Ivan Neville, our friend Eric Krasno and Stanton Moore, Marty Stewart, and much more. Check out the latest version of Relics and subscribe now at relics.com/DMB. Thanks, Relics.
Hi, this is Henry Kay, host of the #1 music history podcast, Rootsland. Come with me on a journey to Kingston, Jamaica, where we explore the world of reggae music and the untold stories of some of the genre's greatest legends. From the ghettos and tenement yards where the music was born, to the island's iconic recording studios. We are so excited to team up with Osiris Media, the leading storyteller in music, because as you'll hear, sometimes the story is the best song.